Hi Capricorn, welcome. Welcome to your Siren Song reading. So as I was starting to shuffle and, sort of be with you, I felt a sense of confidence, being organized, being self-possessed. At the bottom of both of your decks, your main deck and your clarifying deck both have Four of Wands at the bottom. So it's a very stable energy that I come into the reading with. All right, Capricorn, let's get started. So your reading opens with the Two of Cups. Two of Cups. So there are two figures here, and their faces, their heads are hidden. It looks like they're kissing or talking or kind of like, smooching. The second line, we have the Six of Pentacles. Wow, it's beautiful. Beautiful. So Four of Wands at the bottom of both decks. We open with the Two of Cups and then equal give and take. A fair, reciprocal exchange of resources, of time, energy. Like if this is a love story, sometimes you're at their house, sometimes they're at your house. I mean, it's a very kind of like mutual. There's a mutual energy, which is really beautiful. King of Swords. This is the card of Aquarius. Maybe there's a lot of truth told here in this connection. And then the Hanged One. So maybe some kind of like really clear and unabridged truth is, making you kind of suspended, awaiting answers. Let's see, at the chorus, the sort of theme that runs through your whole reading is the river. So the river is about like the ongoing flow of emotions, about being in that flow, just kind of allowing it all, it includes a lot of forgiveness, just kind of taking life and all its emotional consequences as it comes and flowing with it, sort of being in that flow. There are so many amazing songs about rivers. Rivers are a great source of inspiration. There's the river, there's the riverbed, there's the movement of the river, the wildlife around it. It looks here like there's a horse reflected in the river, which is interesting. And we're going to clarify everything, but for now, moving on to your second verse. We actually have the Knight of Cups in reverse here. So this is the Knight of Cups. Just really clutching this sort of beautiful, frail, lit up, flying, translucent. So if you apply all those adjectives to because it's cup, so it's emotions, right? So the way it makes you feel, right? It's beautiful. It's all lit up. It takes flight. It's translucent. You can kind of see through it. Clutching it with red gloves, which I find really interesting, right? Because the hands, what we use to bring something to our heart, her hands are gloved in red, like all the way, we can't even see the end of those gloves. Gloves as a sort of metaphor, it's like when we hold anything with gloves, we're honoring it, right? Like if you've ever been to, like a museum where they let you look at maps or artwork or anything like that, like you put on gloves in order to protect it, to keep it safe. But the color red, it's about like a passion for it and protecting it. And that came in reverse, Capricorn. So we'll get a better sense of that, as we clarify. And then next we have the Ten of Wands. So there's some kind of burden that you're laying down. You know, I can't help but think about this and this moth figure very similarly. You know, almost as though like these two keys could be a sort of bone structure or something, like a, not a bone structure, but like a soulful armature. Like if you could see inside this in another realm. Yeah, like if you can imagine like these two keys crossing, being part of what spiritually is embodied in that which is being clutched to the heart. Because this is the Ten of Wands. It's like laying the burdens down. And this came in reverse. And, you know, we had opened the reading. First of all, I had a sense of being very confident, organized, self-possessed. A sense of well-being. We have the Four of Wands at the bottom of each deck. We open the reading with this Two of Cups. You know, this sort of mutual love or affective mirroring of two people. And then from there, the Six of Pentacles, you know, there's this fair and equal exchange. And then from there, this Aquarius energy, you know, this King of Swords, this setting aside emotions to look at something squarely and being the hanged man, the hanged one, going into a suspended state awaiting answers. But then here comes the river. So the flow of emotions. The flow of emotions in life and the need to sort of flow with it. And then we have this Knight of Cups come in reverse, and then this Ten of Wands, you know, the need to sort of lay down some burdens that you may be discovering that in the Hanged One state. And then from there we have the Empress. So in the event that in the state of like the Hanged One, right, where you've gone into that state with the intention of like not letting emotions distract you from your logic, but you've gone into that state and, you know, discovered the river. If you are like emerging from that state with the self-possession, which is like very clearly came to me at the beginning of the reading, self-possession of the Empress, then you're like embodying all of the queens. And then we have the Four of Swords. So the need to sort of retreat and get a rest, right? In the Rider-Waite deck, it's also about like finding value in the fact that you're alive, right? Because like in the Rider-Waite, which is sort of one of the main decks that instructs us all, it's an image of a soldier who's laying down his sword and he's lying in his coffin, because that was what legends indicate, that when a soldier came back from battle successfully, having survived it, they would lie down in their coffin to just appreciate the fact that they were still alive, you know? And here we have this, like, it's emphasizing these kind of like internal organs, right? Sort of like the energy of breathing, you know? So it sort of has that same sentiment. Like there's gratitude in the Four of Swords that doesn't always get emphasized or mentioned. And then from there, of course, we would move over again to the chorus, which is the river energy, and then the bridge, which is the grasshopper spirit. Take a leap of faith. This grasshopper is sitting on a eucalyptus plant. Eucalyptus is typically, it's a very sort of like a cleansing and purifying, like smell and scent, aroma, whatever. And this also wearing a crown, a red crown. Okay. So let's start to clarify, Capricorn. Clarifying your Two of Cups, they have the Three of Wands. So in using this deck, with this deck, which this deck largely occurs underwater, and this deck seems to occur on like, it's almost like in someplace like Hawaii or something, you know, like tropical with lots of surfing as a sort of natural way of life. So when I'm using them together, I think of this card as sort of like waiting for the wave of one's own choosing, right? Like surfer mentality, like loving life, enjoying life, loving nature, you know, a lot of kind of like just bare essentials, like really in the moment, in the day, like beautiful. Surfer energy, but waiting, Three of Wands, waiting which is usually waiting for your ships to come in. In this case, this combination of these two decks, I think of it as like waiting for the wave that I want. Like, I'm not going to ride just any wave. You know what I mean? So waiting for your wave to come in. And then clarifying your Six of Pentacles, we have the World card. So moving to a new cycle, moving to gyring, right? We go around, we get an opportunity to like learn or experience something. We go around, we do our best, we apply what we knew before, we learn a few new things, and then we get offered the same cycle again, where we can take now what we know and we can do it again. And so that's gyring, right? We go around and we go up, we keep just elevating with all our life lessons. So that's what's happening for you. You've finished one cycle and you're about to gyre up into another one. I love the hands in this card. It's interesting because these hands and those gloves on the upside down Knight of Cups, kind of taking note of both of those things. With your King of Swords comes in the Knight of Wands, card of Sagittarius. So one possible way of seeing this story or this song, right, is that here, like in this kind of Two of Cups, waiting for the wave that comes in. And again, we started the reading with a sense of your well-being, your being organized, your being confident, your being self-possessed. So you are that self-possessed that you are, like with this Two of Cups energy, you're waiting for the right time or the right person or the right offer, and then elevating to a new cycle regarding, you know, equal give and take, reciprocal energy. And then so maybe this King of Swords is like looking at some kind of love interest and questioning, you know, their maturity or their seriousness or something like that. Card of Sagittarius, Knight of Wands is usually considered to be very fun, passionate, exciting, but not necessarily here to stay. Kind of comes into your life and out of your life, like a little bit of an unstable energy for somebody who is Capricorn. You're seeming really kind of like mature and all set and organized, and like I said, you had the Four of Wands at the bottom of each of your decks, right? The Happy Home card. And so, yeah, I think maybe there's a moment of questioning the maturity of someone. And so you go into this Hanged One energy. And the Hanged One energy, the waiting, is clarified by the Three of Pentacles, which is the card of like cooperation, right? Collaboration, working together. So maybe you're waiting for answers about how to work together more. I mean, you have a lot of threes in this. You have the Three of Wands, the Three of Pentacles. You also have the Empress. Yes, so from there you go to the River energy, which might be a bit of awakening for you because you were so determined to not avoid emotion, but to set them aside. Yeah, maybe that's it. Like maybe this energy, this potential Two of Cups, this love partner is coming in like sort of like just fun and hot and passionate and exciting, and you know, it's really thrilling. It's destabilizing potentially, and you're trying to approach it with a very logical mind, Capricorn. And so for that reason you kind of like, okay, well, how can I work with this? Like, let me take a minute and figure out how I can work with this. But then these emotions are like the river of emotions, you're in it. You know, you can't it's not like you have to let it dictate your life. It's not like it will overtake your logical mind, but like it has to be contended with, right? Like the river energy. So then your Knight of Cups upside down is your Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands. Okay? So yeah, so like let's think about this, right? Like in the next card we find out that you have burdens to lay down, okay? The Queen of Wands, and it's Aries energy, she is like so solid and passionate and excited and exuberant, and her intuition is like so on point. You know what I mean? It's almost like, you know what it seems like, Capricorn? It seems like, it's because we had the World card here, right? And you're clarifying your Six of Pentacles, your sort of reciprocal energy, your new cycle regarding that. It seems like this here, after the river, like once you come into the emotions, right? Or once you have to sort of acknowledge that you're in the flow of the emotions, like a tender place in you comes up. Like a really tender place. Like something you've healed, or and yet with your kind of like newfound kind of like elevation, right? Because you're in a new cycle. You're in a new cycle, right? You come in and you apply this sort of like kind of like grown-up, passionate, intuitive, enthusiastic energy within yourself to that. And you kind of soothe it with that, like you're your own wise consul there, right? It's like, wait a minute, this old tender place that we've carried around, like we can be powerful and alive in the face of that. Like we're going to approach that in a new way. We're not going to let that stop us. It's like that, Capricorn. That's what I feel for that. And then this 10 of Wands, 7 of Wands. It's like we can lay the burdens down. We've created like Capricorn, maybe you've created like a safe space for yourself, like, right? Like, yeah, so you have this like, this old tender place, yes, but you have this application of your own sort of powerful agency to it, right? So 10 of Wands is like, it's okay, like I can still hold my ground, like I can hold my ground in who I am, like I can, there's this saying, like when dealing with children, sit on the floor and keep your wits about you, right? Not that all Knight of Wands are children, but you are like looking at a sort of immature energy here. You're kind of like wondering, is this energy too immature for me? Like, let me look at it like really logically and see how like we could possibly work together, you know? River of emotions, even though like you really wanted to be super logical about this whole tender place in you, but you've got like this grown-up way of remaining passionate and like addressing it. You're gonna lay down some burdens here, but still be self-preserved, self-possessed, like I felt in the beginning. Like it's not going to change your emphasis on something like really stable, happy home, 4 of Wands, solid foundation, you know? And then from there we go to this sort of gratitude for your life breath, you know? And then 5 of Pentacles energy. So sort of feeling left out in the cold. Interesting. So I think in the second verse, I think, you know what? I think what I feel, something's going really great, you know, but you start to question it, and for good reason, you know, like, is this real? How emotional can I get? Can I remain logical? What do I do in order to stay, you know, it's like self-preservation, but you don't want to let it stop you. It's like you want to handle it differently. Like if your wounds come up, if you get triggered or whatever, if you start to feel like the old, you know, like the old tapes playing, you know, you want to handle it differently. You don't want to completely lose you know? And you're in this sort of Four of Swords, like taking a rest, soldier in the coffin, contemplating the fortune of their life. And you're also sort of contemplating this sense of being left out in the cold that you have maybe experienced in the past. Like your little tender place inside, you know? But then you emerge from that with the Empress energy, and the Empress energy is clarified by the King of Wands. So you have the Queen and the King of Wands energy both supporting you in the second verse of your song. So that's really powerful stuff. You know, I mean, remember, bottom of both decks, Four of Wands, right? You've got the King of Wands supporting this Empress energy. So what I see here is I see you sort of applying a new maturity to love, Capricorn. That's what I see you doing. It's like you're feeling like you don't necessarily have to lose the opportunity. It's almost like you have a bigger boat, a bigger, better boat for the river of emotions. Like, it's kind of like a you got this kind of feeling. Like you can count on yourself to keep yourself stable on whatever wave you end up choosing here, you know? So you're controlling the pace. You know, you can't control necessarily the river itself, but if the river goes up, the river goes down, the river goes up, the river goes down, you are sort of like still in this bubble you've created for yourself, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to partake, you know? So it's kind of like you can be you entirely without losing any opportunities. And then we come over to your chorus and your bridge. We have the river energy, and then we have the grasshopper, this sort of clean purity of eucalyptus energy, the crown, right? We had the royalty supporting you, King of Wands and Queen of Wands energy. And in that state of like I said when I first opened the reading, you know, you're organized, you're confident, you're self-possessed. In that state, knowing who you are and what you want, and how selective you're going to be about whatever wave you choose, you are completely safe to take a leap of faith, because you're going to approach it in a certain way. You're going to take your time if you need answers, and you're going to stay in this kind of sense of like gratitude for what's coming in, remaining as self-possessed as I found you when the reading opened. So that's what I have for you so far. We're going over to Vimeo to see what transpires from here. And in any event, it's been a pleasure. So thank you so much for being here, Capricorn.